First of all, many things are going on in the global market, specifically regarding regulations, specifically regarding privacy policy issues, specifically regarding a crazy fashion and trend that's been growing in the last 10 years, which is, hey, we're large companies, we're going to do anything we want with your data, but things are going to change, either through force of policy or law. And in some extent, we started developing a product that took that into mind inherently with what we were doing, but also started stacking up to what does the importance of loyalty mean to someone, what markets benefit from having loyal customers, and obviously tourism is one of them. We are not a tourist by chance. We do not go to a country no one's ever spoken of unless we Bear Grylls and we're going there to see what can eventually kill us. But we do go to places which have been referenced. We do go to places that obviously are top on the market, and we do many times repeat the places we go to because the experience was overwhelming and we want to repeat that experience. So what we believe in is that the tourism market has the intention to cover the whole globe. Communication tools and media placement up until now has a staggering cost to do such. In order to have a small hotel and have the idea that it's open to all clients across the globe, I cannot go forth with the idea saying I'm going to invest in Google AdWords. I need a budget of 300K per year or higher, or I'm not going to be seen. Or I'll associate myself to a portal and I'll be one within many. Or I'll try to be on TripAdvisor and having the greatest reviews and hoping someone finds me. But the question is, what if I could work through my existing clients? What if I could, every time I have someone visiting me, fork or uplift my service through them? And social media brings forth this capability. So what we are setting up is a tool, and this can be directed to multiple brands, but obviously also directed to the tourism sector. And our tool is called Sonar. Sonar by the name is like an invisible radar, and we're trying to seek out within our audience who is relevant, who isn't, who can pitch us, who can fork us up, but also inherently Sonar is a customer care platform. If someone's going to talk about your product, most likely they're going to talk about the care they receive, the treatment, how the people served them, how likable they were, or how efficient they were. And efficiency comes through managing customer complaints, managing customer requests. And what we have seen from 2013 until now is an exponential growth in people and social networks, the people, the users, using the social networks to require customer care. From 2013, over having interviewed, not well, but market studies, they interviewed thousands of social network users. And in 2013, about 20 to 25% of them said, yes, I have used a social network to engage with the brand or engage with the service requiring help or complaining. In 2014, in the very early months of March, that has already escalated to about 50%. We have, with the clients we're already working, seen huge organic growth around serving customers on social networks. What is the benefit? There is obviously a PR risk when we're doing a lousy job. We've seen many brands, many companies doing a bad job in serving the customers by not answering or by giving blank, unbranded and unfriendly answers, and then they have a multitude of people, friends gathering to push forward the complaint of their friend or someone with which they relate to, and they say, I had a similar problem. But on the other hand, we have some customers that already having changed their focus in business and understanding that when you serve someone well on social media, the positive message also reaches out through the network. What you then have is the ecosphere of the served client witnessing firsthand the excellence of service that was just provided, the efficiency in time, the elegance in how the answers are completely satisfying. And through seeing that, we are seeing the best and most relevant offering that any brand or any touristic destination might have, which is, this is us, humans behind the product, serving and always available to cater to our clients' needs. So what Sonar does, it has the ability to, it has the ability to connect to social networks through the feeds, through the APIs, collect all the data in a specific brand page. So it's not that we're going through the whole of social media collecting what everyone's saying and then no one actually works on that data. And the only data we could drive through that is more of a benchmark data or a brand positioning. But to effectively traction customer conversations, we go through the brand's social networks. So let's say Hotel A has a Facebook page and a Twitter account. Hotel A will start inherently telling all its customers, if you ever need anything, if you ever require anything, if you ever have any question, please go to our social networks and ask us. Don't use the phone. The problem with calling a contact center is you spend X time on the phone talking to someone, and the reporting that is done of that conversation is very poor. The track record or the auditability of that conversation is lost. So what if every time someone is talking to us, we could not only reach out to them and reply, that's what we want, but at every interaction we are working through their network, but we're also getting behavioral information, and also at some certain points through Facebook applications, for example, able to collect valuable profile data about them, but in a very explicit and very aware to the client opt-in manner. The client knows what he's adhering to. He knows he's going to give his information because it is somewhat subordinated in a loyalty program. Not only that, as a loyalty program per se that it is, he always has the option to opt out and not be hassled or constantly bombed by that company. But now, it becomes so much more relevant if we are able to intersect who the people are on social media and understand who they are as our customers. Because then what we can do is backdrift this information, and every time we're leveraging someone on social media, we know exactly what customer he is. And we can look through our social network and understand what percentage of customers do we have represented in our network, and how much ROI or how much worth does that network have to us, and how well are we exploiting it as a customer platform. Not only that, but when we understand the history of everything and every engagement we've had here, and also the value of the customers and what they have been consuming, when they come forth with a question, we know exactly who they are. And when we give them something in answer, or when we reply, we're able to position, upsell, cross-sell, or just simply answer the client with a knowingly response. We know who he is. When he comes back to us, he feels that the person on the other side remembers him, recognizes him, and most of all, it's relevant to them and they value that customer. We go a little bit further, and there's a possibility to then track the users from social to the web, which means we are able to track individual known users and their behavior on our websites in order to know exactly what room they've been looking for, what kind of packet they've been looking for, did they simulate a price for bringing kids and having a party or whatever. So now all of a sudden, the conversation that can start on social media would be something of, I'll just quickly jump here to a slide. Can you quickly jump across? Okay, it would be something like this. So Peter, someone that on social media, which so many people do, give out just a blank call, like an answer to a post of a kangaroo on a travel agency page, and it says, in response to seeing a photograph of a kangaroo, I would love to travel to Australia, but it's so expensive. So what normally the social media manager would do would come with an answer and say, yeah, but isn't it great to visit the outback? Okay, it doesn't add much to the conversation. But if we're able to, first of all, particularize his interest through Peter is actually interested in Australia and he's tagged, and now follow on with his behavior, tracking you onto the website, meaning that now the website, knowing that this target has a preference for Australia, would privilege the content for Australia when he visits the website. Instead of showing him, hey, what about Cuba? What about South America? Why waste time and bring down the conversion rate when we could optimize it for his supposedly intended preference? Not only do we state that he is interested in Australia, we're going to back check that. We're going to see that the analytics of his behavior going through the Australian content confirms the first expectation. Should it not, then algorithms will correct this, possibly sometimes putting it back at zero and saying, we're not yet sure about this client. But time over time, with these people coming onto our channel, we're able to start creating a user profile. We start to be able to understand his preferences, and that also means that if we know who he is as a client, we're able to see that, for example, it has a Fly High Club card with 50,000 miles, and this would leverage a discount. So instead of saying, yes, Peter, wouldn't it be great to visit the outback? Someone comes with something useful to Peter. Peter, did you know with 50,000 miles you can get 50% off? And Peter says, Peter doesn't say anything, sorry, the slides. Peter says, hell, great, I'm going to go to Australia, I'm going to buy. So the difference between a branding dialogue, which is what happens up until now on social media, it's now possible to have a sales dialogue. And never mistake that sales and loyalty are like this, because whenever you're selling something relevant to a client, you're actually serving the client. And once again, you're doing this on social media. So this interaction will be through the outcome visible to Peter's friends. And whenever it comes to their mind, should I want to travel, where should I go to? They should have top of mind this experience. If they don't, once again, this is social media, they most probably already share the likes and the interests of Peter. They can always talk to Peter to flash them back to, this is where I go. So all of a sudden, the whole organic of growth is based on servicing the clients and not only spending money on media. Media is like African drums. Boom, 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 boom. If you stop the drums, no one hears you. You always have to keep on forking money into media unless you have a conversion and client tracking setup. And this is what we built in order to bring these main capabilities to life. So through a better and greater affinity, which is funny enough done over digital. Digital has been so cold up until now, but now when there's that capability to reach out to a client and dialogue with him knowingly, we're able to leverage a better dialogue. We're able to purpose what we are doing, catering to the client. We are also able to collect valuable real-time data coming from the social profiles with the ability that whenever Peter, for example, changes his email address or where he's living, we get real-time updates from social media saying, change this, change that. So why be selling Portuguese destinations to someone that has just moved to Portugal? And also, through serving his customers and knowing all of this, we're going to get greater conversion, and ultimately this is what we want, so people are able to pay for our products. Okay? Sonar is a SaaS license. It runs on a private cloud, which means clients and each brand or whoever's using Sonar has proprietorship over all the data. And they also know that there's no contamination of working on social clouds like many products that are out there that have all these customers doing social CRM, but on platforms which possibly have databases of Microsoft right next to SAP or right next to someone else, this as an example. So we have our clients on completely custom platforms just for them. We're also 100% legally compliant when it comes to privacy policies. It's always within an opt-in system. And an ultimate output of our system is when we know our client preferences, we can still then go on and buy media, but with a huge difference. We will be able to target and place media on people that we already know which the preferences are. We don't need to be bidding for keywords where we're paying premium to Google likes and Facebook. We're paying high prices because they are controlling our segmentation. They're telling us, you can post to these. By knowing who we want to touch, we only need to position an ad on them buying the lowest CPM on the market because we know that there's an optimal point of conversion on those users. This should bring down media expenditure to about 20%, but with a conversion rate which should exceed 400% of the ongoing conversion rates.